So right now we're going to look at the expenditure module. We're going to see how we can record expenses and keep track of all our expenses. So the first thing we do under expenditure modules, we have expense modes, the settings, set up the vendors, expenditures, and you'll see the expenditure payments. So also under this section, we'll be referring to the petty cash, which will involve petty cash top-up and the vouchers. So to start with expenditures, so we start with the expense votes. Basically, we are going to add the votes. So you click add, then you enter a vote name. So you can see we have the various votes like payroll, administration, transport, utilities, kitchen. So under this, these are the votes that we have. We can add another vote maybe. Then we do that. So that's how you add various votes. Just click add, enter the vote name and click save, and you will have these votes. You can delete a particular vote or edit the name if you want to change it. The next thing after adding the votes, what we do, we go to expenditure settings. So we're going to set up the categories and the actual expenses. So how you do that, under category, if I click category, so we are going to add categories that fall into various expenditure votes. For example, if I select a vote category of food, if I select food as a category, as a vote, then I'll add a category and say and give it a name. So let me see what can we assign. So you select a vote and then you assign a given category in that particular vote, and then you save. So we can see under categories here we have various categories, like under kitchen as a vote we have utensils, for example. We have gas, which can be fuel what you use to cook with. Under utilities as a vote we have the category of water, electricity, sewage. Under transport we have that bus and also and so on. So that's how you're able to set up the categories. So you go to add category, select a vote, select a given vote, and enter the category name, click save. So also you can view them under categories where you can delete or edit a given, you can change the category name and also change the given vote. So after you have assigned the categories to the various votes, so what you have to do is now enter the actual expenses. So that one will be done under add expenditures. If I click this, see, I'll be able to select now a given category and assign an expense. So if I select maybe that as a category, I'll give an expense of maybe that. Click save. So that's how you're able to assign, to enter now the actual expenses in which now you spend money on in relation to the various categories. So once you assign all the expenses, you'll be able to view them from this place. So we see we have a given category with a given vote, the category and the expense with the description. So that's how you're able to assign categories. So you just select a given category, enter the expense and the description if it's available, then you click save. So once you save that, then you'll be able to view them under expenditures. So you'll see how the expenses under with the category and the votes. So after that, then the next thing we're going to add are the vendors or the suppliers. So we just add suppliers who supply a given product to the school. So with this, if I click add, I'll be able to enter supplier's name, the company name, and then the supplier's phone number, the email address, the description, any other details, and then I can click save for this with this information. So if you click save, you're able to add a given supplier. So we have this supplier. We can edit this supplier. So by editing, we'll be able to change the status if they are active or inactive, and change any of the other information. So now we have added the expense votes, we have added the categories, we have added the expenditures, we have added the suppliers. Now the next thing that follows is now adding the actual expenditures. So actual expenditures, so we are going to add actual expenditures in two ways. The first way is now if you have a supplier who you invoice, and the other option is adding expenditures that do not have a supplier, those that are not being invoiced. So to start with those who are being invoiced, we go to expenditures, then we click add. So from here you see we have various options. So we search for a given supplier's name, and then say now this supplier is supposed to supply this particular products, and this from this date to this particular date. We'll enter the invoice number, and then we are going to add now the various expenditures. Okay, so to add the actual expense now, we add, click on this add, select an expense, and then the quantity, and then set a unit price. So it will tell us calculate the total. So this is how we record an invoice to a given supplier on the system. Search for the supplier's name, the date range, invoice number, then we add the expense. After we have done that, we just click save. So with that, we'll have recorded now that particular supplier. So also now we have two options. Now also after recording a supplier, we can now record. Now we record the invoice, and then now we record now the payment. So we record that particular payment in which we had paid that particular supplier. So after now we have recorded this invoice, we can decide to pay it. So this is how we are going to record the particular payment. So we can select the payment method, select that, the given bank, say we have given we had paid that particular amount, select the date paid, and then we choose the reference number. Then you can write something, maybe partial payment for a particular product and so on, and then you just click pay. So that payment will have been recorded successfully. So with that, that's how you can record a given invoice and record a given payment for that particular, for a given expenditure. So the next thing now we're going to look at is we can look at the expenditure payments. So with this, we'll be able to see now those payments that have been made towards a particular expenditure. So we see like now for this payment that this expense with this, the one that we had recorded, we had made this particular payment, and with this now you can print this. So that's the payment voucher. You can assign it and also give out all the details. With this, I can not, so if I am to print now this expenditure, this payment voucher, so if I click on payment details, I'll enter the receiver's name, their ID number, and their phone number. So once you enter these details, you will be able to see them. So we have them right here. So you print this, then with all the signatures, and give it now. You can give one to the supplier and print another one, and you can file them. So that's how you're able to record the various expenditures that entail the suppliers. You can record the vouchers, you can record the expenses, and also you can record the payments. So that's how one is able to deal with payments that entails suppliers. So the next thing, we're going to look at the payments that entail those particular suppliers that do not have, that are not being invoiced. Also from if you go to expenditures, expenditures also, you'll be able to see the details of all the expenditures. For example, now for this hour expenditure, we can see the amount paid, the amount that was supposed to be paid, the amount that has been paid, and the balances. So also you can keep track of how various expenses are going. So we see we have this expense for this vendor now, the supplier. We can see it was supposed to be paid 7,000, we have paid 4,800, and that's the balance. So that's how you're able to view the various reports on expenditures. So next we're going to look at how to record the expenses now for those suppliers who do not have invoices.